guys, Aubrey here with Kevin. We are going to talk about intermittent fasting, and we can see what people are. And we're going to wait for a few people to get on before we start. So, how's your day going today, Kevin?
It's been a wonderful day. Just got done with all my exams. About to get ready for spring break and actually take some time to relax. So that's super exciting.
Nice. Hey, Jeff. What's up? Hope you're having a good time. Thanks for all the likes. He just blew us up. So Kevin and I met. He started working in my lab as an undergraduate. I'm a graduate student, and so he started working in my lab, and we just became buddies, and we bonded over the fact that we both do intermittent fasting, and he's super into health and fitness, and so we just kind of talked about it all the time, and I realized that he has so much awesome information for you guys and teach you about intermittent fasting. So we both had midterms this week, which were terrible, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours of studying do you think you did?
Probably a solid average of like 8 hours a day, including the weekend, more on the weekend. So when you have 4 tests, there's really you never know how prepared you need to be, so it's better to over-prepare.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's very taxing on you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I knew spring break was coming, so I could torture my body a little, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was up until 4 a.m. on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, trying to, get A's. Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just waiting for a few more people, and then we'll get started. I think we started a few minutes early, but people will come on eventually. So what else is new? What are you doing for spring break?
Gonna be working in the lab. Gonna be growing up some more DNA, because after our
growing up DNA, I've never heard it.
After we got a spill, we basically have to restart, but that's gonna be fun. Get to hang out with people.
What happened? A spill?
Yeah, someone accidentally knocked over all of our DNA.
Oh my god! How much work was that?
It was approximately 20 to 30 hours of work.
Oh shit!
So it was
terrible.
It was kind of sad, but that being said, I mean, I do like working there, and like we always just mess around and have fun.
Nice.
So it's not gonna be too bad, but other than that, I plan on relaxing a lot, just getting some of this beautiful weather in, actually, since it's finally nice out.
I know, it's been awesome. It's been 60 degrees here in Colorado. All right, we got some people on, so we're gonna get started. All right. So Kevin, tell us about yourself. Tell us kind of about your journey, what got you into intermittent fasting, how you became an expert. Just give us a lowdown.
So basically, my entire life, I was a pretty big guy, and I never really had good eating patterns and whatnot. So up until the age of 18, I was a very, very overweight individual. I hit about 300 pounds, and at that point, I decided that it was time to change something about my weight. So I actually was living in Poland at the time with my parents, and as soon as I moved back to the United States to go to school, at that point I decided that I was going to start cooking on my own, and I needed to learn things, and also I didn't really want to be very overweight anymore. That being said, that's not a very easy thing to do. Losing weight, keeping it off, there's so many different methods, and only really a select few work. And so basically, through my research, I found something called intermittent fasting. It wasn't necessarily brought up by anyone specific. It was just like one of those things online, and I looked into it, and it seemed like it was right for me. And what intermittent fasting basically is it's eating, but it's eating at windows, but fasting in between. So you would eat all your meals within a time span of the day, as opposed to eating throughout the entire day. So I looked into it, and there's actually a lot of recent research on it, and there's so many people giving you good results online that I was like, I've got to try this. So I eventually tried it, and within the span of about a year and a half, I lost 100 pounds.
Wow! In a year, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So after, and it was one of the easiest journeys of my life, surprisingly. I tried to lose weight before then and whatnot, and it just didn't work. So when I found this method, it was like, I can't believe how easy this is. I can't believe it's so effective. And, it changed all aspects of my life. I was feeling better all the time. I finally, I'd never been skinny before, so I was like, sweet, this is actually what I look like when I'm like at my physical prime. So it was a very exciting process, and it wasn't very difficult, and I think it's probably the easiest way to lose weight out of all other methods, because you don't have to give up the things that you love.
Yeah.
There's really, the amount of effort you put into it, there's only like a little bit of a curve at the beginning where you have to initially get used to it, but after that it's super easy and it's a blast and you just feel great all the time.
That's awesome. Were you working out during that time when you were losing all that weight?
Yes, but not too often. I would say I was at the gym about 3 times a week, just because of school and whatnot. But I didn't really do too much cardio. I was mainly just lifting weights. So I didn't really have that much extra cardio to supplement my weight loss. It was definitely, my weight loss was made in the kitchen.
Got you. Cool. So if someone were to start IF, intermittent fasting, what are some of the tips you would give them?
So some of the tips I'd give them would be, first, understand that nothing is easy as soon as you start. So, and things only get easier. Your body's a machine and it's very used to doing the same thing over and over, and you program it so it's not. So as soon as you change, it's going to be a little out of whack. But if you can get over that initial week of like what's going on, everything goes super smoothly. So it's initially, that's the only like real thing I don't like about IF, intermittent fasting, is the first week is not too fun. That being said, if you ever break your intermittent fast, after you start intermittent fasting, that period of like not feeling too well is definitely shortened. I can get back into the groove of things within like 2 days if I mess it up or whatnot.
Got you.
And then also I would say to make sure that you're eating healthy when you're beginning, because if you're eating all your calories in like a couple meals throughout a small time window, you don't want to be overloading on tons of sugars and bad foods, because it's going to make you feel more bloated and a little more wired and whatnot. You want to make sure that this is a tool that's going to allow you to eat more calories or in a certain window, as opposed to like spreading it throughout all the day. But you want to make sure that you're also supplementing it by eating healthily and whatnot.
For sure. Let's see who's on. I think my mom is watching. What's up? Hi, Mom. I hope you're having a good day. Happy Friday. Okay, so what's actually like going on in your body with intermittent fasting?
So the first thing I'd want to say is like digestion is like a very taxing process on your body. It
takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, absolutely, and it prevents your body from doing other tasks. When you sleep, for example, there are a lot of processes that basically help repair your body. That being said, a lot of those processes happen when you're fasting. So, it reduces inflammation, you're going to feel less sick all the time. Your body's just going to be in a more relaxed state, basically, if you're fasted. So, and then another thing is that when you're eating all day, you're not only are you digesting all day, but you're having insulin spikes. You're eating sugar, and basically that's what's going to make you more wired and more like jumpy and jittery. And by intermittent fasting, once again, you're just going to be in a much more calm state.
So you're kind of like evened out.
Exactly. And also, your body runs on basically not only one clock, but it's like on multiple clocks. Like all your internal organs are on multiple different clocks. But if you can sync all those up and create a very even schedule for your eating window and whatnot, they sync, and you can turn it into almost a one clock. So
intermittent fasting does that?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So basically, you're gonna be programming your body to be in a very efficient path.
Gotcha.
So it's gonna be you're gonna feel wonderful, honestly.
I would even argue that intermittent fasting is kind of the more natural state for you to be in, because if you think about back in the day when we were hunting and killing animals for food, you were fasting a lot. You didn't have the food to eat 3 meals a day, and you know, you might have been fasting for days at a time. And so I think intermittent fasting is super cool, and the research behind it really shows how much it can do for you, especially in terms of weight loss and feeling amazing, because I know when I fast, I mean, I feel great. I've been fasting since, I don't even know what time I stopped eating last night, but I'm not even hungry today, which is crazy. I thought I would be starving. And, you know, people think it's difficult, and it's really not that hard once you get into it, and the benefits are amazing. Like, I know when I eat keto, I kind of feel sluggish after I eat. You know, I'm not at that, like, peak performance level, which I find really, really interesting. And one thing I do want to say is a lot of people, when I tell my intermittent fast, they're like, well, doesn't your body go into starvation mode and all that kind of stuff? And I kind of counter that with, you know, your body doesn't go into starvation mode until like 72 hours after you've stopped eating. So as long as you're not fasting for 3 days at a time, you should be fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are actually intermittent fasting windows where people will eat for 5 days and then not eat for 2 days, or eat a day, take a day off. You know, once you actually try like a 2-3 day fast, you'll be very surprised of how easy it is. The first day you'll be like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, like this isn't too fun. And the second day you wake up and you're like, I'm not even hungry.
Yeah.
And you know, they have studies too that you know, people have fasted for very prolonged periods of time. They've done studies where people have fasted for over a year. That being said, I wouldn't recommend that without you know, talking to a physician or something.
A year?
Yeah, a year. But you have to be supplementing with electrolytes.
Oh,
you have to, you know, sometimes they say you need to take like a spoonful of salt or something in there, and there are a lot of nutrients that you need to be still supplementing yourself with. But basically, your body, if you're very overweight, your body can use all that fat to run for very long amounts of time. Yeah,
because fat is just stored energy.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And one other thing that a lot of people have issues with is like weightlifters.
Hey, Kathy! I just
want
to say hi, sorry.
Oh, it's all good. Like weightlifters, they're like, oh no, if I'm not eating and I'm working out fasted, like that's going to ruin my gains. Like, how am I going to get really strong and whatnot? And the truth is, there are so many recent research articles coming out saying fasting actually makes your growth hormone levels skyrocket.
Yes, like 4 or 5 times.
Yes, exactly.
So you can actually get more out of the workouts that you're doing by fasting.
And in like the bodybuilding community, that's actually for the past year been like a very huge new revelation they've come to, is that, hey, they're all working out fasted now.
Wow.
And like, not all of them, of course, but like a lot of them have caught on to it, and they've seen wonderful results.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, that's definitely something you don't need to worry about. You know, if you're intermittent fasting, you can still put on muscle very well.
For sure. My mom commented, let's see. Hey, Austin, good to see ya. So my mom said pros and cons of frequent small meals throughout the day versus intermittent fasting with regular to constant energy state or body clock like you were talking about. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons.
Well, with the pros of eating frequent meals throughout the day, I personally just don't see them, because that takes time. You know, you have to meal prep, you have to find a source of food, you have to spend time thinking about it. You know, if you're really busy in the day, you don't want to be thinking about when's my next meal, when am I going to have to cook or whatnot. It's going to be much better if you can just be like, hey, when I get home today at like, you know, 5 p.m. or whatever, that's when I'm going to eat. That's when I need to worry about it. I have my food at home. And, you know, I think the whole frequent meal throughout the day thing was just, in a sense...
more of a control of calories, you think?
You know, I'm not sure about that. But I think a lot of people, that's just like a way of making people spend more money on like diverse amounts of food, in a sense.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, because they would always teach you, you know, eat a bunch of meals. You know, the food pyramid, they would always teach you. That
Which
wasn't
bullshit.
Exactly. That was never necessarily true. A lot of the nutrition the nutritional facts that are coming from the sources we should rely on aren't necessarily true.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the benefits, I personally don't see any. That being said, you know, if it works for you, it works. And you know, sometimes some people who have issues with blood sugar or whatnot, they might want to supplement. That being said, studies have also shown that intermittent fasting can actually help alleviate those issues.
Yeah.
But once again, that's, every case is much different. So
Right.
you don't want to go ahead and try that if that's not you and it's not going to work for you.
Right. I think some of the main things that people bring up when they talk about eating like 6 small meals a day is it keeps you full, I guess. People don't get as hungry because they're eating consistently. And I think another argument is that it keeps your metabolism up because you're constantly eating, which is true. But intermittent fasting does the same, doesn't it? I mean, it's constantly burning your body fat. And I had a question in my beta group a while ago, like 2 days ago, about how intermittent fasting plays into keto because it's often done in conjunction together. And intermittent fasting, when you're not eating and you're not intaking carbs, you're burning your blood glucose fast because that's your source of energy. And then it switches to your body fat. And so you're going into ketosis faster and easier when you're fasting because that's your body's natural mechanism. So I think we had a few more questions. Austin asked... Oh, my mom asked one more thing. What about energy pre-workout? So, Mom, I don't have a problem with not having energy when I fast. So today, for example, I carbo-loaded yesterday, which gave me some extra energy. But I fasted since last night, and I did leg day today. I had a pretty intense workout, which was awesome, and I had no problem with any energy. So it's not like when you're on a regular intermittent fasting regimen, your body gets used to it and is just constantly kind of in that mode. Let's see. What is the main time that helps? Okay, so let's go over some basic regimens for intermittent fasting. So there's the 16-8, right? Where you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8. So that's like you start eating at noon and then you stop eating at 8 and then you fast the rest of the time. There's that 5-day eating, 2-day off, which you talked about. You talk about the scheme that you follow.
So I would say I follow mainly one meal a day. That then again, so it's like a 23-1. That being said, that was definitely through build up. I started with 16-8, which is honestly probably the shortest fast I'd recommend, because at 16 hours of fasting, you're really receiving the benefits and you're going to feel great. Anything shorter than that, and I'm not sure you're going to be getting the full benefits. And then another popular one is 24, which I also heavily agree with, because that is a pretty nice window. You don't eat anything throughout the day. You get home from work around 4, and you eat from 4 to 8. You eat when you get home, eat a little bit at 8, and then, that's like, in my opinion, that's a very reasonable fasting window.
Yeah.
And then personally, I like the 23-1 because it gives me 23 hours of clarity. As a student, as someone who really needs to use my mind all the time and need to be like on point with where my head is, those 23 hours of clarity are wonderful. And then I only have to worry about cooking and whatnot for an hour of the day.
Right.
I'm focused on food for 1 hour of the day, which is
awesome.
Amazing. You don't realize how much food takes over your life when you're eating throughout the day entirely, and you're always cooking, you're always cleaning, the greatest thing about IF, in my opinion, other than what it does to your body, is time. You're just like, you literally save hours of your week, where you can do other productive things when you're on a regimen like that. So I'd recommend starting out with a 16-8, and then at that point you'll realize that fasting longer than that is much easier. You'll have a day where you're like, I can't eat right now, I'm going to go to 20, and you'll get to 20 and you're like, oh, I'm not even hungry. And then you can eventually extend it. Exactly.
I gotta eat after this, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find your limits. And I think that you really just need to start with 16-8 and then keep building up. And if 16-8 works for you, then stay with it. Basically listen to your body. If your body's telling you that you feel great and whatnot, then stick with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, kind of like we talked about, just to recap, if someone wants to start IF, you got to think about your food and also your calories. Getting enough calories, I think, for me is difficult because I started doing the 1 meal a day thing. I have a hard time eating 1,500 calories or 1,700 calories in one sitting. And so I need to schedule it out for 4 hours. So I am doing like a 20-hour fast. And so I start eating at 4 to 8. And so I really like it, but I have a hard time getting in all my food. That being said, I never overeat because my stomach can't handle it.
Exactly.
And which is nice, because that was a problem I always faced, is I wasn't tracking my food and I was always overeating. So that's great. But you can expect to be a little bit hungry in the beginning. And, let's see, we got some more questions. Mom, Ann said she's coming off the flu, so she's getting her appetite back. I've been inadvertently IFing. I'm amazed that eating 2 small meals in the afternoon and the evening has been enough, and she drinks bulletproof coffee in the morning. But have you talked to, Allison wants to know if you talked about autophagy or
autophagy?
Yeah. Oh, I've never heard of that before. Do you know what that is?
Yes. So autophagy is basically your cells, I believe, eating up the other cells that are basically sick or not functioning properly. And from what I've read from most research is that autophagy starts at around 16 hours. So it's basically just flushing out your body and degrading those cells that are, subpar function and whatnot. So
I never knew the term, but I've heard about this mechanism before. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so the benefits of those are amazing, because it's basically going to make you get sick a lot less. It's like kind of flushing your body, cleaning your body out. And if you're doing a 20 and 4, you're getting a little bit of that benefit every single day.
Yeah.
Which is going to add up tremendously in your health, because when you think about it, a lot of people never enter that phase. And that's why you have so many people getting sick all the time, is because they've never ever given their body a break.
Yeah.
And your body needs to rest. If your body's digesting, 18 hours a day and it's never gotten a break, you're going to get sick. You're going to feel cruddy.
That's a really good, I never thought about that.
Yeah. So I've also heard that to optimize autophagy, you want to go for a approximately 2-day fast. That being said, that's long term. Start out small, start out with your 16 and 8. But with a 2-day fast, they say if you do a 2-day fast once a month, you basically never get sick. It's gonna flush out your body.
I need to do that. I've been getting sick so much lately. Austin said one more thing. Thank you for talking about it. That was what. Sweet. Yeah, you're welcome, Austin. Thanks for being on here. I also wanted to say hi to Gretchen, and the cells actually eat themselves. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's one thing. There's this guy that I always get ads for on Facebook, and he's a huge keto expert, and he talks about dry fasting. And have you heard of that before?
I have not, actually.
So dry fasting is basically because a regular fast, so there's a fat fast where you just eat fat. There's a wet fast where you keep completely away from anything that has calories and you only drink water. And there's a dry fast, which is super extreme. I would never do this, but you don't drink water. You don't take showers. You don't wash your hands, because apparently you soak up minute amounts of water through your skin. And so he claims that a dry fast you go through this autophagy process 3 times faster than a wet fast. So if you were to wet fast for 3 days, but do a dry fast for 1 day is equivalent to a wet fast for 3 days. So that's crazy and extreme. I don't think I would ever do that. But I mean, that's something else, and only for experts. You have to know your body so well in order to do that.
Exactly. And the thing about IF that's amazing is that this is a lifestyle. If you do a dry fast, it's something you have to plan for.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that, you're probably not going to feel too good that day, I'd imagine, if you're not drinking any water.
Yeah.
That's why I would definitely prefer doing something that's going to give me minuscule benefits every single day than, hurt myself I'm not sure if it's going to hurt you, but really starve yourself and not get any water and make yourself dehydrated for that period.
Yeah.
Because one thing is, when you make a change like that to your body, you're not always going to be the perfect person getting off something like that. Sometimes the same signals get sent to your brain for hunger as like dehydration. Sometimes a lot of people will eat because they actually are thirsty, which is like really interesting to think about. But coming off a dry fast or something, you could like really gorge after. And in intermittent fasting, you're just going to be constantly in this clock that's working for you. You're going to be happy, and you don't have to worry about making any extreme changes.
Yeah, so we're talking about sustainability here. I was talking to someone the other day who's having a problem with bodily yeast infections, and she was talking about how she fasted for days at a time, trying to get rid of her yeast infections. And I'm a proponent of sustainability. I mean, the keto lifestyle, you can't go all out, no milk, whatever, because, that's not sustainable for some people. And I think if you're going to stick with something, you got to keep it sustainable. So I think that's a really good point.
Well, my favorite thing about IF with sustainability is the fact that you can really eat any foods you want. So, like, we're all going to have a cheat day. We're not perfect. It doesn't matter how great you are at dieting. You're going to have a cheat day. And the great thing about intermittent fasting is that if you're eating in that slight little window, and you eat that big calorie meal, you're still going to be full.
Right.
So you can go and you can still enjoy your favorite foods because, if you have a, 1,600 calorie ginormous burger with fries and this and that, it's still going to be very difficult to eat more after that. But like if you eat like 800 calories in the morning and then a little for lunch, then you can totally slam a burger later. Like that'll fit into your window.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah, so some days if I want ice cream, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to eat, at the beginning of my hour, like 1,200 calories of good food. And then, hey, it's a cheat day, another 1,000 calories of ice cream. Yeah. And that's a lot of ice cream. And that's something you should, like, in a sense, when you eat that much, you kind of feel bad. But when you're on IF, it's like, hey, I don't feel bad. I'm still in my calorie limit. And one little cheat day is not going to hurt me when I'm, being consistently healthy throughout most days.
Yeah, no, for sure. Austin said something, quick reminder, just as super high ketones does not mean better ketosis, faster apogee does not mean better. No, that is, that's a really good point. And I'm super skeptical. I only mentioned the dry fasting, Austin, because it's something I'd seen about intermittent fasting. But yeah, no, I agree with you. It's more about quality, I think, over quantity, which is what I think he was trying to get at. That other guy on that I see ads for all the time. So thank you for mentioning that. And that is a great point, especially about ketosis. Higher ketones, people think being in deeper ketosis is better, and it's like, no, you're just burning the same amount of energy that you would be normally. Your bloodstream just happens to have more ketones in it, or you're dehydrated. That's another thing too. You can show that you have more ketones just because you're dehydrated, which is not a good thing. So I think we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. Is there anything else you want to tell newbies? Or I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, I think we covered most aspects, but please give this a try. I promise it will change your life. And I know everyone wants to say that about every dieting fad, but it's actually really easy. And
and it's backed by research.
Exactly.
And that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, and I don't have the best self-control. I'm not a perfect person, but if I stick with this regimen, it's definitely easy to lose weight and maintain weight, especially. You don't have to only use this as a tool to lose weight, but once you're at your happy weight, keep doing intermittent fasting. It's very easy to control all your calories in one sitting. You can easily map your calories for the day, and you'll know exactly where you're at, and you're not going to be going over. And you can, because when you're gaining weight and losing weight constantly in cycles, your body's not happy. Your body wants to maintain the homeostasis. It doesn't want to be changing how it needs to process all the time. So it's very easy to maintain weight. It's easy to lose weight. If you're a student or if you're someone who really needs to use their brain a lot at work, you're going to be in a much more calm and much more aware state. A lot of times you can feel like you're overstimulated by sugar and whatnot, and you're going to be all over the place. So that's one thing. And then also I'd recommend coffee. Coffee does not break your fast. And
plain coffee.
Plain coffee, yes. You do not want to put anything in coffee. Drink black coffee. Find something that works for you. personally, like, I've never been a fan of most coffees, but if I drink hazelnut black, then I really enjoy it. So just make sure you find a coffee you enjoy black, and that's going to definitely help you start up your day, get through your morning. And also, if you're kind of low on energy for workouts, a lot of pre-workouts, they have a lot of caffeine in them and whatnot. So the coffee, caffeine will get you through your workout and be like another supplementation of energy. So other than that, I feel like we've covered most things. Just please try it. It's awesome.
It is.
So
it's
much
really
fun.
awesome. I can second that. All right. Thanks for being with us, guys. And I hope you enjoyed all the information. And thank you, Kevin.
No
really,
problem.
really appreciate it.
It was a blast. Bye.
Bye. Have a great night. Happy Friday.